Hello and welcome back to the Hoop Show. This is the Tweets of the Week, and our first tweet of the week is from Mark Pazaskas at Real Barry Bright. And Mark says, "Too much fumbling, not enough composure. Unfortunately, I think the result is reflective of where the club sits." Yeah, I noticed a lot of that too, Mark, the fumbling, or you couldn't not notice it really. It was all night, wasn't it? And it was just extra frustrating because Sydney seemed to handle the ball so well. So it felt like I was questioning myself: was it actually slippery out there, or were we just having a case of I can't hold the ball properly? So I'm not sure what was going on with that, but the Swannies just tore us up, didn't they? And we just looked useless the whole night long there. Hopefully, it isn't reflective of where the club sits long term, because it clearly didn't look like that last week against the Bombers. And so hopefully back at the MCG next week, we see a return to that style of footy and the confidence comes back a little bit. Hopefully they're not too shook up, because they did get made to look pretty bad on Friday night. Thanks, Mark. Next tweet is from Daniel James Warren at Daniel_Warren08, and Daniel says, our game plan is pretty simple, and it works if you look at all the opportunities we had in front of goal. The only thing that is letting us down at the moment is the defensive run when we turn it over. Yeah, we did kick a lot. We did score a lot, didn't we, Daniel? I think we had about 5 more scoring shots from than them, and 18 more inside 50s than them. But it did look bad when we don't have the ball. They just, run all over the top of us. It looked horrible on Friday night, and we just didn't seem to have the energy to chase, except for one bloke, and we don't need to name him really, but Brad Close. I'm going to name him anyway. He was the only one that looked like he was putting any pressure on for fair parts of the game. So I don't know what was going on, but the boys just looked like they'd lack a bit of energy. There was even a moment where I saw Dangerfield contest a mark and went to ground afterwards, and I was thinking, get up, Danger, you're sitting there spectating what's going on. And then, went over a second later, it went over his head. If he was standing up, he probably would have got a hand on it, or might have dissuaded the Swans player from kicking it to Buddy Franklin for his first goal of the night, which really got the crowd into it. So little things like that I noticed. Maybe I'm being a bit too hard on that particular situation with Danger, but I just thought, that's not what I want to see from our leaders. I want to see a bit of frenetic pressure, but I just wasn't seeing that. Thanks, Daniel. Bathan Mullen at Bathan. Bathan says, we won't win when so much goes wrong. Fumbly, poor defending, passengers, and really poor kicking for goal. Not a disaster yet, but need to be much cleaner than we were. Yeah, it's definitely not a disaster yet at 1-1. It's just what is this Geelong side? It's hard to know with such a small sample size, 2 games in, what we're looking at. Our best is going to probably win the premiership. Our worst is probably going to see us lose the top 8. There were lots of passengers, 100%. There was one guy leading from the front, and there was a few guys that probably held their own, and there was probably half the squad just really, really lowered their colours and weren't competitive, and just really started to fold under the pressure that the Swans were bringing, which we knew they were going to bring, and we knew it was a big game. But I would have thought that our boys, with the number of games that we've got in this team and the years of experience, that we would have been ready and having learnt something from last year, but wasn't to be. Chalk another one down to a loss in Sydney, 2 in a row at the SCG, and we'll have to move on from that. But yeah, let's hope that the Essendon version of Geelong is the true version, and us fumbling when things get a bit too much pressure comes. Hopefully that's not the Geelong that we're going to keep seeing week in, week out. We expect to lose a few games every year, but we don't want to be seeing that version of Geelong week in, week out. Thanks, Bathan. Now, Leroy Latham at Leroy Latham, funny enough, says, reminded me of many finals we've had in the last few years. The seemingly easy way in which the opposition score compared to our battle to score. Missed easy shots and poor forward 50 entries we are renowned for in big games. Yeah, we got a lot of forward 50 entries, lots more than they did, but it was just the entry inside. It was just another bombing long, especially in that first quarter when Paddy McCartan It was just intercept marking everything. He had 5 intercept marks. It was on pace for a record at one stage. Lots of set shots missed for goal, especially in that second half. We just seem to miss the ones that you really need to kick. It's hard to describe that. I think you all know what I'm trying to get at. There's just moments in games when you've got to kick the goal, and moments in games when you've just got to try to not let the opposition kick the goal. And it was just at all of those moments we failed completely. And it's really, really disappointing to see that. I know they're not intentionally meaning to do it, the human beings, but goodness me. Just some of those missed shots, you think, oh, really? But yeah, we didn't get not a lot of opportunities for our Hawkins and Jezza. I think they scored six scoring shots between them. You don't expect them to kick 6 goals straight, but you maybe expect 4 or 5 goals, something like that. But wasn't to be. So anyway, thanks, Leroy. Riley Nelson at Riley Nelson 13 says Brad Close is the best small forward in the comp, and there is nothing you can say to change my mind. I'm not going to try and change your mind, Riley, because I 100% agree with you. If he's not the best, he's probably in the top 3 at least. He's a gun, and he just seems to be getting better year after year, game after game. I remember 2020 when he got forced out of the side when Gazza was making his way back into the team towards the end of the year, and we all thought, oh, what a shame. Like, we all understood that he had to make way, but he didn't really do much wrong, did he, to give up his spot. And then in 2021, he did everything to hold his spot, really. So, and this year he's come out guns blazing. He's probably in our top 3. Again, small sample size of games, but probably definitely our best on the weekend. And with the 2 games combined, he'd have to be up there for sure. So good call, Riley. I have to say he's definitely the best small forward in the comp, if not in the first 2 or 3. Thanks, mate. Now, Mick at Mick Howley says he's a bit torn, old Mickey. He says, we didn't play well, but had more inside 50s. Not many teams going to kick 11 goals without missing. Clear up goal kicking, and we could have won. I was looking at that too, Mick, just the amount of shots we had and versus them. And, what if that was different? Look, there's not many games where your opponent's going to kick that accurately. I still suspect, even if it was more of a bit more parity between how we converted our goals, I still think that the way we used the ball through the night and some of the really big moments that we let ourselves down in, I still feel like the Swans would have got on top regardless. It may be a lot closer, and they would have had to work a lot harder. But I just, even with the goal kicking and their goal kicking, I think it's probably more complicated than that in reality. Just looking at just the eye test without even looking at the score, you'd say the Swans win. So probably the only plus side is those types of games. If we kick a little bit straighter, we still play ugly. We're a really great team, and we tend to win a lot of those games ugly. We get maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of those wins a year just playing ugly footy, and good enough to get the win, but only good enough to get the win when you kick accurately enough, and nowhere near it on Friday night, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks, Mick. That was a good one. Now, Della79, I love seeing Della's tweets. Can be on the negative side, but we've all got a difference of opinion on these things, so thanks, Della. But Colo's kicking out of defence is beyond a joke. Dump kicking to contest under pressure was bad. Smash from clearances, no real system kicking inside 50. Enough of wasting games into guys who haven't shown they are any good. Look, there's a lot of people saying Colo might get the axe from the Axeman during the week, but I suspect he's going to continue to keep his spot on the side. I just remain a bit worried about how our defensive team is going to hold up throughout the year. I still worry about the hole that Henderson's left, what that's going to mean. So I think we'll stick with Kolodashny Special K for a little bit longer. But yeah, it's just the constant kicking it long into a contest. Just interesting to see how the Swans play that small ground a little bit. I'd love to know what their average kick length is. Someone might have access to that level of data, but I don't suspect they're trying to kick the ball 50 metres every time just because it's a small ground. I think they've got a method to their system, which I don't know what it is, but they seem to just have the right... It's not this small chip stuff necessarily either, like 15-metre kick, 15-metre kick. They clearly move the ball a lot by hand, but their kicking is... there was a difference if you watch even if you watch the 20-minute replay, if you've got KO, or I think it's on the AFL app as well, but just to see the way they move the ball by foot, it was very different to how we went about it. And so I'm curious to see the Swans go around again, if it's on TV or whatever, over the next few weeks at the SCG, especially on that small size ground. So they play it it's very interesting how they go about it. And we've normally played pretty well. Even last year when we lost, we still played reasonably well. It didn't kick straight again, but Swans kicked pretty straight that night too. What can you do? But we go pretty well in SCG up in Sydney. We're always reasonably competitive, even if we don't get the win. But unfortunately, Friday night probably wasn't. Probably went away from that story a little bit. We weren't competitive really at all, bar the first couple of minutes of the match where we looked awesome. We looked like the week before against Essendon in those first 5 minutes. It was move the ball well, converted, did all the right things. I think we've got to stick with a few guys though. Della, stick with them a little bit longer. I'm not quite ready, especially those guys that are in that sort of mid-20s, early 20s, teens. I don't want to give up on them too soon. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about some of the older guys. I think that hopefully the decision gets made by some of the younger guys taking their spots, and that it's not a club decision towards the end of the year when we realise this isn't going to happen in 2022 and we need to start blooding the young guys. I hope it's more of the other way around, that they're forced out through the great play of some of the younger guys in the squad. But I think you've got to stick with that sort of 100-game sort of type just to get a little bit longer anyway. I think it's definitely an all-in kind of year for us. If we just chop and change every other week with our we got to stick with something and got to make it work. Injuries are going to play their part, and we're going to be moving people through the team for that reason. But I'd like to think that the club's going to try and hold firm and not just lose their head after a pretty bad loss, and we'll see if we can fix a few things against the Pies next week. Thanks, Della. The reason, what is the reason? I don't know. But reason at Adrian Hobbs, very inaccurate in front of goal tonight, very poor conversion that hurt us, not allowing us to add scoreboard pressure. We fumbled all night. Those plays where we may have been a metre ahead and we fumbled allow Sydney to compete for a 50-50 ball. I think I know what you're saying there, that those moments where, and they're just the little moments, but they all count, where you kind of have a little bit of space on your opposition and you either fumble it or you overrun it or your footwork's just a bit off, or you choose the wrong option, and it means everything. When Sydney's bringing that tackle pressure against any side really, or if we're doing it, if you're bringing that level of pressure and the other team, when they're trying to gather the ball, they're fumbling it or they're making wrong decisions, it's that splits. It all counts, and it means the difference of, you're either getting a decent possession off to a teammate who then gets another decent possession off, or you're under the pressure and you turn it over seconds later. So all that stuff's really important, but we were just not able to do anything with it, and just every time that you thought, oh, here we go, here's Geelong on their own or going to get an easy position, it sort of just turned into a 50-50, which we either was nullified or we won the occasional one, but it just didn't put us in at an advantage at any point. It made it like we were climbing a hill the whole game. So that stuff's really hard. Thanks, Adrian, or the reason. Now, this is a hard one to pronounce. An eye full, I'm going to go with that, add an eye full. Forget Buddy's 1000th. Zach Tui with the player of the night when he shirt fronted on the Sydney fan, and then the wallet retrieval or the wallet return. Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? I suspect that Tui would do that. I wouldn't have he's the kind of guy that you look at and you think, yeah, seems like a good bloke. Of course he's going to do something like that, but probably would have been the last thing on my mind when I got run into trying to get away from the humanity that was streaming onto the ground. But good on Zach for doing that. I hope the guy thanked him when he got the wallet back. Didn't just take it off him and walk off again. But looked pretty dangerous, even for the Swans players, let alone Geelong players. Like pretty easy to get on there and just do anything really in all that chaos. But anyway, I'll talk a little bit about that on the Monday night show. Anyway, thanks an eyeful. All right, next one's from Mrs. Loz Noz at Loz Sol Oz, I think it is, or Loz Sol Loz. Against teams who play on and play exciting footy, we look like what we are, old and slow. Close, outstanding, but where were his mates? I admire Sydney and Horse. They were boring chokers to now exciting runners. Yeah, Sydney were good to watch, weren't they? Back in the mid-noughties when they were in those two grand finals and with the under Paul Roos but it was a very different style back then, very ugly duckling style footy there. But they're great to watch now. I mean, it's hard to watch when you're a Geelong supporter playing them, but I think we'll probably all enjoy watching them throughout the course of the year. They seem like good fun. So, but anyway, thanks for that. And that's the end of the tweets for this week. So thanks everyone for making your contributions. I didn't get around to everyone this week. I'll try to get to about 10 if I can, but maybe try next week if I didn't call your name. I will try and rotate it around a little bit, so don't be too disheartened. But thanks, and better luck next week to the Catters. Don't give up on them. We'll win that. I'm sure we'll smash the Pies, and we'll be enjoying all the post-game chat and basking in the glory of victory for the next 7 days after that. Anyway, take care, everyone, and we'll see you on Monday night for the Monday night show. Take care, or the match review show. Anyway, see you then.